Hello, everybody. I hope everybody can see. I gotta get my glasses. I can't see y'all. Um, okay, it looks like everything's working. It's been storming here. So yeah, I've got my fan on. It's like a swamp. Alabama is like a swamp today. The air is just wet. Um, I want to say hi real quick. Just before we get into everything, Michelle is backstage. Good afternoon, Just Deb. Let me I'm not great at, multitasking here. Velvet Underground, hello, hello. Um, hello, Marty. Polygraph, hello. I know this is kind of like, a weird time of the day, maybe to, Sundays are crazy. They're usually crazy for me. I'm either working or I'm doing a lot of stuff. So, hello, Jinxie, glad you are here because you never know. I hope, let me see. Okay, I can't do that. Um, I was trying to do something else. I hope we have some other mods to jump in here just in case we have, craziness, because that happens sometimes. Between my trolls and Michelle's trolls, it can get wild. Uh, but anyway, yeah. So if you are, just let me say this: if you are not um, watching this live, okay, because of the time factor, uh, maybe you're busy, maybe you're watching the replay. We are going to have a Q&A session for Michelle, and so go ahead and even after the live, put your questions down on the comments on this video, and we will get to those. Like when we do another one, she'll answer your questions if you don't get them on here. So for whatever reason, it's not over. Okay, and that's exciting. She'll still answer your questions. All right. Let's see here. Let me get Michelle up here. Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
Okay, I want everybody to somebody, not everybody. Somebody just give me an okay, a thumbs up, something if you can hear Michelle, because y'all know how stupid sometimes this thing is. Want to make sure we can hear her. Uh, okay. All right. All right. So Velvet Underground, you're going to be modding too. Thank you. Thank you. So how you doing, Michelle?
I am doing great. It's hot.
Yes, it's hot. Yeah.
It's,
It's like I bet it's hotter where you are actually than where I am.
it's we've had heat wave. It's been crazy these last couple weeks, and it's going into next week like 107, 108, 109.
Oh my
So
gosh.
no.
Oh, I can't even. It's only been in the 90s here. Like, I think one day it might have been like 97 or something, but still.
Oh
We
gosh,
haven't.
that's cool.
I know, right? If you're
I'll
at
take that.
100, if you're
That
at
is really
100
cool.
degrees, good gracious.
Swimming in the tent. I'm in my pool all the time. If I'm not working, I'm in my pool.
Yeah, see, I want a pool. I don't have a pool.
You
And,
gotta have a pool.
yeah, you need a pool in these southern states.
Yes.
Um, So today we're kind of changed up what we had planned. Today, and I know a lot of y'all know this case, and some of you don't know this case. So if you did not watch the first live that we had, I don't even know when was it, Tuesday. Um, that's where Michelle tells her story. Okay, that's when she talks about Tanner, her son that passed away at age 19, perfectly healthy, very sketchy circumstances. So we're going to be reading from the autopsy, and we're going to be reading from the coroner's post-mortem examination and his thoughts and stuff like that. And I have told Michelle, like, go ahead, stop me, interject whatever you want to. Um, you know, and then I think what we're gonna do next time, just so you know, because sometimes with me, I'm a visual learner, so I have to see stuff. So we're gonna like give the cast of characters next time so you can see their names, possibly their faces, and you can understand how all these people, mesh together. But in the meantime, if you would give a thumbs up, hit that thumbs up button for Michele, because what happens when you hit the thumbs up and we're live, it pushes it out to the algorithm. And so, therefore, more people can hear Michele's story. So, if you would do that for me, that would be awesome.
That'd be great.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So, let me go ahead and make sure I've got my TV on over here so I can see and
And I
make
have my
sure.
papers.
This is how I see the light. What? Okay, wait. Now we've moved, but where is my, let's see. Where is my, okay, let's see if that changes it. There's a delay between me and YouTube. Okay, I'm not seeing it. All right. That's all right. That's all right. Let's, I'll just do this again. Technology.
Yes, I'm not part of it.
Yeah. So let me share this. Let me see if this comes up now. Why are we not seeing this report? Oh, wait, maybe.
I can see it.
Okay, there it is. Finally, it came up. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. I had it all set up before, but All right, so we're going to read through some of this. And again, yeah, this is where we're going to start. Let me make sure. Yeah. Because then we're going to do the summary. And I told Michele, like, this has got to be hard to hear as a mom. So there are some things I may not go that in depth in, okay? And I hope you understand that, because it's not, to me, it's not that necessary. But I do encourage you, if you're watching this on the replay, you can go ahead and read this. It is all up there. All right. So, circumstances surrounding death. Can I say death on YouTube? I don't even know. The patient was visiting a friend's house, and sometime around 0200 on 4/22/12 collapsed near the bottom of the stairs. A witness saw him fall and thought he was fooling around. She went to check on him and thought she felt a pulse. She did not check to see if he was breathing. The witness did state that she and the patient had ingested alcohol prior to this. She went to sleep after checking on him. Upon awakening in the morning, she realized the patient had not moved since the fall. The fall. Upon checking, the patient was unresponsive and cold to touch. EMS was called and responded. They found the patient unresponsive with rigor mortis. The patient was pronounced at 9:37 a.m. A small amount of emesis, again that's vomit, was noted at the time around the nose and mouth. Per report from the family, the patient had previously been in good health. Now, that is very important to remember, because like Michele said, he was a football player, like he was very active,
And he had his, he had a scholarship. So they're not going to let this kid have any issues health wise. They've invested in this kid as a football player. He had testing done regularly. He had his, all his vitals. He was always being checked. So it's not like, they wouldn't have found anything. They would have noted that in their, in his physicals. I know I did speak to his primary doctor, and she goes, Michele, his heart was fine. I don't know why they're saying his heart. His heart was fine. I found nothing. I didn't see anything. And I said, it's not you. It's not his heart. But yeah, his doctor even spoke with me and said there was nothing. This kid was perfectly healthy.
Yeah. So, this is why it's important to know when we're looking at this. You can't say, Well, I mean, even the coroner said it wasn't natural. It was a crime scene. So, uh, yeah.
And the
Okay.
innocence is important too, because if he was healthy and he hardly had any alcohol, then why was he vomiting
Right. Right. And
around the nose and mouth? That means something was in his system and his body was getting rid of it.
right. And if you watch the last episode, or the first one actually, we showed you the toxicology report, although like Steffa said, it was more like a drug screen. It was not a true toxicology
Mhm.
report that goes in depth. It was a drug screen, but we went over that of how
Yes.
it actually contradicted itself, and on top of that, it really wasn't. There was nothing to see. Nothing to see here, folks. There's not enough in his system to do squat.
Yeah.
So, all right, the external examination. The body is that of a young white male with a length of 74 inches and an estimated weight of 280 pounds. The head has curly brown hair. The eyes are brown. Uh, what is this? Dentition is intact. That means his teeth. A small amount of vomitus is noted within the mouth. No obstruction of the back of the mouth is detected. That is important. There is no obstruction, okay? The external skin markings or scars, no external skin markings or scars are detected. So again, that would, well, I mean, I guess that's kind of self-explanatory, but I think as it goes in here, they did not find any like injection sites, did they, Michelle?
No, they didn't. But of course, we have no idea what they found because obviously this this what they did was, yeah, this autopsy was basically like 100-year-old person died of natural causes. So um, did they scan over? We don't know. I mean, he could have had bruising from when
Yeah.
he fell. He had to have had bruising if he fell like that.
Yeah. I mean, and the substances that were in his system, we don't know how they got there. It was an injection,
Mhm.
but yeah, or was it? I would
Yeah,
think, honestly, most people, even hardened addicts, a lot of them, that I've talked to over the years, Michelle, have said, well, I did this, and this, but I was never going to, shoot up. And, like, that was the no. So it would be strange to me if Tanner had done that.
yeah, very. That would be out of character.
Yeah. So, I
He
mean,
didn't do shots. He hated shots.
yeah.
So
I mean,
for him to shoot himself up or have somebody shoot him up, no.
yeah, that's very unlikely. And maybe that's why, they weren't really looking for that.
Mhm.
Um, okay, we're gonna skip ahead just a little bit. It talks about his heart, how much it weighed. Um, when it says things like the endocardial surface and valve leaflets are unremarkable, the myocardium appears unremarkable. Again, no thickening of tissue. Everything, just for people who don't know, who aren't medical, when they say unremarkable, it kind of, to me, when I was learning, it kind of sounded like an insult. What do you mean I'm unremarkable?
I know.
But
I
but
know. Actually, I was like, what?
yeah, but that really just means the same thing as a negative report is a good thing, even though it sounds bad.
Mm-hmm.
Unremarkable means there's nothing to see here, folks. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all normal. It's within normal limits. Um, okay, the lungs
And
have a
that's
weight
very important.
of,
And that's very important for everybody to know that his heart, everything in his heart was unremarkable. His heart was
right.
really high, but that's because of his heart, of him trying to pump the oxygen to continue breathing because he was suffocating. And that's why his heart pumped and got so large. Um, other than
Yes.
that, nothing. And that's very important, especially at the end when you hear what the secondary pathologist then came up with. So just remember that, folks.
Okay. Yeah. On the lungs, it says the upper airway is free of obstructions. Okay, so there's nothing in there. Although The lower lobes, it says, are slightly heavier and firmer appearance, suggestive of possible consolidation. There's no lesions. So, I don't know. What are they talking about here? Consolidation, like because of uh, restricted airway? I'm not really sure on that
Well,
one.
if you know what the coroner told me was that there was foam in Tanner's lungs.
There
And
was
I said,
what?
maybe foam, like he had
Oh,
foam in
okay.
his lungs. And I said, I don't understand what that means. What I don't understand. And he goes, Michelle, that's the sign of an overdose.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that was a conversation I'd had with the coroner before I moved to Texas. And I sat down with him and spoke with him. And yeah, it's, oh, anyway, so yeah, it's, that's what he had said. So that's why people say, oh, he didn't overdose. Well, the coroner himself seen it. He just can't back it up because they didn't have the toxicology was inconclusive.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he said there all the signs of an overdose are there.
Wow.
That's the
Wow.
original coroner. Yeah, coroner J. Price, the original one.
Okay, so this one does say that there's consolidation in there. Well, now that makes sense. Thank you for clarifying that because I wasn't sure what that was.
Mhm.
Nothing, nothing with a liver or gallbladder. Uh, the spleen is good. Pancreas is good. Adrenal glands, kidneys. Um, Again, nothing. The GI tract, okay. The stomach has partially digested food. The lining appears normal. No, this is important. No tablets or pills are detected within the stomach. The esophagus appears normal, small, large intestine, normal. So, basically, all right. So if he had taken a pill, if he had taken, let's say, ketamine, and he had taken it in pill form, unless it had been so much earlier, is completely digested that, like, in other words, he didn't take it and then die of a heart attack. You know what I'm saying? We're
Yeah.
still in there.
Mhm. Or
So,
Adderall, which they tried to tell us in the second investigation that Adderall was part of it. And I'm like, well, there's no pill form in here, so
yeah,
there's another way of checking off their Hail Mary investigation, is what I call it, theories.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, we're looking at this, and everything in here so far has been completely normal except the consolidation in his lower lobes of his lungs. So,
Hmm.
microscopic exam sections of, let's see if I can read this. I don't know if I can pronounce this word right. Like, I read it all the time in reports, and I'm like, I don't know how you say that. Uh, but anyway, there is some edema. In other words, it's swollen. Okay, lung sections are swollen and have some passive congestion of the interstitium. The most prominent within, again, like you said, the lower lobe section. So that's again where they're looking at that congestion, and they're looking at the foam.
Hmm.
All right. So
And
that's where,
that's important because they see it. They see that something is in there um, that shouldn't be there, but yet they don't have anything to tie it together.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I'm looking at this, and the first time I read through it. All right. Now, on this toxicology, it says the specimen is positive only for THC. A blood alcohol performed at the Howard Regional Health System Laboratory was 0.063%. Not even legally intoxicated, and a small amount of THC. Uh, Again, you know, that's not something that causes you to just, be unalived.
Mhm.
Um, All right, this is interesting that on the summary, no anatomic findings are detected at the time of the autopsy to explain a sudden collapse and demise. Toxicology studies are not helpful in pinpointing an exact cause of death. A photograph from the scene shows the patient, and I'm not showing pictures, y'all. Not happening. It shows the patient lying in an awkward position on the left side and chest. The head is turned to the right, but the face, nose, and mouth are not visible. Given the patient's body habitus, where am I at? And short neck, it is hypothesized the cause of death is due to positional asphyxia. Emesis was also detected by EMS personnel, and this could have caused partial obstruction of the airway. Uh, the swelling, we'll just say instead of edema, it found within the lower lobe lung tissue would be consistent with asphyxia. The large size of the heart would also have made the myocardium more susceptible to an arrhythmia secondary to hypoxic ischemia. So,
Secondary.
yes, secondary.
Mhm.
In other words, like we said before, you have the heart enlarged because you're not breathing. So your heart has
Mhm.
to swell, trying to pump
Pump,
that.
it's trying to pump that through.
hmm Cause of death. This is positional asphyxia. Manner of death, natural.
I, I,
Okay, but let's go right back up here where it says, let's see. They're saying, wait,
it
let
should have
me,
been undetermined.
yeah.
They should have ruled this undetermined.
Didn't we just read somewhere in here? Okay, yeah, right above there. It's in the same, it's just like in the paragraph above. No anatomic findings are detected at the time of autopsy to explain a sudden collapse and the demise. And then two sentences later down here, the manner of death is natural. Natural for no reason. Michelle, I guess we all just start dropping for no reason.
We just drop. We're
Yeah,
19 years old and we just die because it's a natural cause and it's just the process of life. Because
yeah,
you're 19.
right.
When they tell you we see natural, we were like, what? We had words. Let me tell you, that came out of our mouths, and it's unbelievable how idiotic this is and how people would believe it. Here you have no anatomy. You can't. That's why they said in all of our years combined, we have never seen a perfectly healthy 19-year-old athlete just die for no reason. There's nothing in his system. There's nothing wrong with his heart. There's nothing wrong with his body. He just died. So
Right.
we're gonna rule it natural though. We're gonna rule it natural. See, if they ruled it undetermined, this case would have stayed open, and that family the case would have been open. They couldn't close it, and somebody was protecting this family. That's the only reason why they didn't put it undetermined.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like even just reading the report, it's like automatically, what the heck? What the heck? Uh,
Hmm. The
okay.
THC is mixed with alcohol and ketamine. Yes, and what we find interesting. I see Marty say that. Sorry, I'm just going to jump in.
No, you go ahead.
The detective even questioned it was odd because he goes because there was pineapple juice mixture like because Michaela, and when we get into the statements you're going to hear her say she had this drink, that drink, and then she had some of the pineapple juice mixture. Well, what's pineapple juice mixture? Well, once we had found out, and I had a psychic death investigator tell me that something like this they should have checked for um, GHB, whatever, the date rape drug ketamine, all those xylazine. And a lot of those people, the kids put it in pineapple juice because it's tart and then it cuts the saltiness of the ketamine. So they make a mixture of it. And
hmm
that's what kids were doing at that time. And that's why I found it odd that the detective questioned her a couple times about the pineapple juice container. So if that's the case, why didn't they take that container in as evidence and test what was in that pineapple juice container?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're going to investigate a crime scene, wouldn't you think to do all these things? But I don't know.
Yeah.
That seems like sloppy work to me. You're either
Oh,
gonna, you're either gonna investigate it as a crime scene or not. If you're investigating as a crime scene, everybody out of the house. Let's cordon it off. Let's test everything we can possibly find in the house. But it seems like they're like, okay, it's a crime, but we're not really gonna look that hard. I don't know.
it, we weren't wanting. We were told, probably, we were told not to look that hard. We were
Yeah,
told that, this family, da da da, let's just, let this slide. This kid's president of his class, of a very wealthy school. Some of the board members are community leaders, leaders in the community. We don't want this big black mark on this school, because that's a school when businesses come into Kokomo. A lot of times that's where they send the big, the owners, CEOs. When they come in, that's where they suggest these people buy homes and um, live in that community and have their kids go to Northwestern. That's kind of, so we don't want that on our record. Let's just put this under the rug. It was an accident. It was natural. That's just how we've looked at it.
it's infuriating. It is so infuriating to me that this can even happen. But I mean, I get what you're saying, and unfortunately, this kind of thing happens all the time.
All the time.
Money talks. The reputation, the school. I mean, that's way more important, right?
Oh, to them it is.
Jeez. Yeah,
So
give me a
there's a
break.
special place in hell for people like that. There really is a special place in hell for people like that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And Marty's coming with some. I'm sorry if I have missed a question because there's so many comments. We'll open it up again. You can type it again. But Marty was saying exactly when did they say he took Adderall?
Yes, they said Tanner took Adderall 3 days before he died. And what they said was he had taken it. Well, what they didn't tell everybody was my sister was with him. And my sister said, I was with him doing his college paper. And that's when he was supposed to have taken it to stay up to finish this paper. And my sister told him, I would have seen that, because I would have known my nephew would have been hyper because he doesn't need Adderall. If you don't need Adderall, it does the opposite effect. It makes you hyper. And
Right.
she goes, I would have seen it. And they said that he took Adderall 3 days prior, and that's what caused his heart to go into such an arrhythmia that 3 days later it caused him to die. That was in their Hail Mary investigation in 2018 to close his case. And I said, okay, then provide me the facts. Provide me a picture of, or something of, somebody was with him, showing him take that pill, show that it's in his toxicology, show me you have a witness. Show me, prove it.
Right.
And he wouldn't answer me. They never would answer me. And I said, then you can't tell me it was Adderall. I BS, and that's bull. And no, he didn't. There's no way that would have killed my son 3 days. 3 days later, not just the next day. 3 days
Right.
later, no. And he said his heart was in such an arrhythmia. Okay, then why did my son come home? He never complained to us. He never complained to his aunt. He never said, man, my heart's bothering me. He would have. He would have definitely told his aunt, because that's his. My sister's a holistic doctor, and he goes to her for everything. And he would have said something, but there was nothing like that.
Yeah.
So
And plus, the tox report says no amphetamines. So how are you going to say it's Adderall when there's no amphetamines in the system?
yes, and that's what they closed his case on in 2018. That is what they said was the cause of his death, was him staying up all night doing a college paper, drinking alcohol, smoking, had marijuana in his system, and hadn't slept for like 36 hours, and he took Adderall. And all that combined caused him 3 days later to die.
Yeah, I call horse pucky on that. Definite horse pucky.
Yeah, trust me.
Here is another one from Marty. What are symptoms to a person's heart and body due to ingesting too much ketamine?
due to a person's heart.
What are the symptoms?
I
I
don't
don't.
think it does anything to your heart until you overdose on it, and then it slows your heart. It slows everything, and then you start pumping harder because your body. You're like, okay, now I'm in a position where I can't breathe. Now my
Yeah.
body is pumping, and that enlarges the heart because you're pumping. It's pumping to get air, which is it's a muscle, so that's going to make it expand.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's exactly what they were saying, and in that report. Uh, okay, let me make sure. All right, we probably have some more questions, but let me go back to. Uh,
Good questions, Marty. By the way,
yeah,
very good
because
questions.
these are the things that people want to know. All
Yeah.
right, so now remember we're up here. We have no reason to explain the sudden collapse and demise, but if the death was natural. So let's look at this. This is from Jay Price. Wait, where's the? I don't know. Do I have the first page of this?
That's what I don't think we unless I mixed it up in there somewhere.
Let's see.
There's the okay, maybe it started. Oh, I think it starts somewhere because that's and I apologize because I know it starts on yeah.
Okay. I thought I had it, but I guess not. Well, that's okay. We kind of have established what has happened. If we find the first page, we'll go back. So
Yes,
we'll.
I apologize for that.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll go on. Okay, this is talking about this summary. Of course, this is the house, and they were in the basement. So we're talking about like how the house is laid out and things like that. There are basically 6 steps down to the basement. After reaching the landing, I
Okay, so
observed. Okay,
there's
go
six
ahead.
steps going down to the landing, and then there's 6 more steps. So what he said at the beginning of this, and there wasn't much, and I'll just tell everybody because I pretty much kind of have it memorized. So basically, he said that when he got there, he was talking about where the family was, which I find odd because he said they were all in the house. But when he got there, I was still there, and they weren't in the house. They were all lined up, and I remember because there's one thing you will never forget is seeing a coroner pull up to a crime scene and it's your child that's in there.
Oh
So when
yeah.
I tell you, my mind, I remember every little thing from that morning. I even remember his red truck. I can tell you exactly when he pulled up. I can tell you the detective's vehicle that pulled up. I can tell you all of that. Your mind doesn't forget that stuff. So
Right.
I know that they were standing outside. Then he says when he gets there, there's a dog gate at the top of the stairs, and that's very important because they said the dog gate was at the bottom of the stairs, and that's going to come up later in Jeff Linscoop's. When they interviewed Jeff Linscoop, the dad that was there, the one who took the pictures of Tanner laying on the floor.
Mhm.
So that's where that starts out. It starts out he climbed over the dog gate to go down 6 stairs. There's a landing, then he made a direct right to go down to the basement. And that's where Tanner was with his foot on the step and the rest of his body down like he had fallen down the stairs. So there you go. I started that part.
Okay, so all right, so let me get this straight. Tanner, the dog gate was at the bottom of the steps, and then like if Tanner had been trying to go up, he would have had to step over the dog gate.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, that the dog gate, Jeff Linscoop said the dog gate was at the bottom of the steps. And I have a picture on Tanner's Voice Facebook page if everybody wants to go over there and look. Just scroll on down. There's a picture of the dog gate from the crime scene photos of the dog gate at the top of the stairs. And they keep the dog gate at the top of the stairs so the dog doesn't go down because I guess it has little short legs and they didn't want it to get hurt. So,
Right.
but they forgot in their statement, like, if when you're hurrying up and lying, you forget the small details. And they
Yeah.
forgot, oops, we better put the dog gate at the bottom of the steps. But when you look at the bottom of the steps, there's no place to attach a dog gate at a straight angle. It would have to be sideways, then it wouldn't have would not have
Mm.
fit on the bottom step. So
Wow.
the dog gate's at the top of the stairs. But Jeff
Yeah.
Linsky said he goes down to the bottom stair where the gate is, where the dog's down there barking, and that's where he's seen Tanner. Well, how could Tanner have been laying there with his foot there if a dog gate was there?
Ah.
So they said
Yeah.
his foot was up on the step, like one of his feet were on the step. And then there's so much more I can go, but I'm going to wait on that one because when we go into the statements, then I can explain a lot more of that. But yeah, so the dog gate's at the top of the stairs.
Wow. Well, which makes sense because why would you have a dog gate at the bottom of the stairs in the basement if you're? I mean, if
Exactly.
you want your right, you're trying to keep your dog out of the basement. You don't put it at the bottom of the stairs. You put it at the top of the stairs.
Mhm.
And I have actually the way that this is described. My staircase that goes to my upstairs is like that. Like you go down and hit a landing, and then mine splits, but it's a sharp, either right or left, and you can't
Mhm.
see if you're standing above the landing. You can't see the bottom of the stairs
No.
because they split off. So yeah, I get that. Okay, so after reaching the landing, I observed on the carpet covered floor the body of a white male. I continued down the stairs and approached the body. The deceased was lying partially on his left side with his right foot, as you said, touching the bottom part of the step. He was wearing blue jeans, no belt, black t-shirt with Marion on the front, and black socks. Note, the t-shirt was pulled up above the waist. The deceased had no shoes on. I observed the blood and foamy froth coming out of his nose. His head and neck appears to be a dark purple. Um,
Which I will stop you because in one of the
okay.
reports, the when the first responders show up,
Mm-hmm.
they had him laying on his right side with blue socks.
What?
Yeah. Hmm. And then
Okay.
Dr. Cooney said he was laying on his stomach up in the family room, which we'll go into with his addendum. So nobody knew which side Tanner was laying on. Somebody said he was on his right side, left side, front side. Um, some said he just was laying there. So if he's in rigor mortis when they show up, how is his head and everything tucked down? If he's in rigor mortis, how are they able to see and move and how did he not even see that this kid was even? Mm.
Yeah, because you can't move somebody around. I mean, I just know that, from working in various facilities as a nurse, once rigor mortis sets in, it doesn't matter if I had one lady that literally passed away from she was very sick, but she was sitting up, and when by the time they decided to move her, like, she was in that sitting position. You couldn't move her until
No.
that rigor mortis relaxed, because you weren't doing anything. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's very odd to me. So that would be that.
Mhm.
If that is true, I mean, it could be a fabrication, but if it's true, then I mean, it couldn't have happened if he was in rigor mortis. It just couldn't have happened that way.
And another thing, if you were an adult and a kid was you ran down, so you go downstairs and you see a kid on your basement floor on your basement floor with a foot on the bottom step, you wouldn't go run up and get a camera and take a picture of him. You would think the kid fell down the stairs and hurt himself.
Right, right, exactly. Hey there, Ruckus. Let me ask. Okay, the big question is, when was it changed from natural to accidental? What was
In
the accident?
2018. Mhm. Yeah,
It
in 2018, they said it was accidental due to Tanner taking Adderall 3 days before he died.
Yeah.
Mhm. But they didn't give us any. I said, okay, then show me, prove it.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
So,
Let
yeah,
me.
so prove it.
Well, yeah, and the thing is you can't. You can't because there's nothing in the toxicology. So
No,
Uh,
no, and we asked them, and they wouldn't. And so sorry if I'm being loud, everybody. I'm just my room is echoey, and I've got a loud voice. So if it sounds like I'm blah, I apologize.
yeah, yeah. I mean that's fine. That's fine, Michelle. Let's see. I'm trying to see what Ruckus is saying. Um,
Clearly a suspicious death. You can't tell me otherwise.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, I am going to let's go
Yes,
back
yes,
and
it's
read.
done.
Let's
They
read.
claim there's. Yeah, go ahead.
No, no, you go ahead. You.
It just popped up. It said they claim that there's a phone recording of myself and the pathologist where they said Tanner died due to an overdose. Ruckus actually had a PI, a man named Ron Mann, reach out to him and say, "Hey, we have a recording," and he's like, "Okay, show it to us." Because I was excited. I was like, "Okay, this is great," because that means if they're saying that he told me that there was a site that Tanner died of an overdose and I
Mm-hmm.
missed it, I was like, this would be awesome. I said, I couldn't wait because that means that Tanner, we have proof that would be able to reopen Tanner's case to an accidental, and which means or change his cause of death to accidental, and they would have had to have reopened this case. So this guy said this and said this, and he never produced that evidence. So I'm like, and I don't have the recording right now, but my plans are to get those phone recordings back, and that'll happen. But yeah, so yeah, and so somebody said that, and it was a PI who works with somebody who helped Howard County close Tanner's case. I was promised that recording. Now they say it doesn't exist. Exactly, Ruckus. Exactly. And they say it doesn't exist. Okay. And so we were waiting on it. We were waiting on that. I know, Ruckus. Boy, we were, weren't we, bud? We were. I was excited. I had to shut my mouth, and many of you know I like to chit chat, and I swore to Ruckus I would not say a word because I was like, oh my god, I was biting at the bit to tell oh, we got this recording, and we didn't. So they lied. They lied. So and that's all part of Howard County getting lawyered up. So the whole county's lawyered up. Um, that's a whole nother mess that we'll be getting into as after the 2018 Hail Mary investigation. There'll be a lot more come out with that. A
Okay.
civil suit against the
Yeah.
doctor. He was culpable in Tanner's death. Am I taking pics instead of dialing 911? Yes. But that wasn't the doctor that took the picture, but the doctor is the one who deleted the picture off of the Carol Lynn Scoop's phone. Yeah, we've thought there's a lot. I'm just waiting to get more of the case file, and then we're going to look into a lot more stuff. We're just getting this back out there. I've been shut down a couple times by a few really horrible people, but here I am. I'm back up and out there and getting it back to everybody.
Um. Let's see. There's one more question here. What did it say? Was purple his neck? Why are they saying that's from the asphyxiation?
They said Tanner's neck was short. Okay, so here's my thing. He's a football player.
Mm-hmm.
His neck, his neck is broad. Like, if you've ever seen a pro football player or a college football player, especially a lineman, their necks are huge because of the strength they have to strengthen. So, and my question to them was, well, then you provide to me the X-ray of his neck. Do you have an X-ray of his neck? I want to
Mm-hmm.
see. I want to see the X-ray. Show me that my son's neck was short because he's never
Mm-hmm.
had a short neck in my life that I knew him. He came
Right.
back from college with a big, thick neck. Like they build them up, and because that's a job for these athletes. That football, when you go to college and play sports, it's a full-time job, and they're preparing you and building you up for whatever
Yeah.
future. Because his football coach told him, by the time you're a junior, you're going to be an All-American.
Wow. Wow.
hmm Yeah. So he was really, really pumped and really doing so. Yeah, that he didn't have a short neck. That was just, and then that's when everybody took off. Oh, he had a short neck and he was overweight. No, no, he was built perfectly fine for being on the football field.
Uh, yeah, so that's kind of a moot point too. And if there were anything, if it had been causing any problems, that
What
wouldn't
he
come
had
up
done
in his
it,
physical.
yeah, and what's so funny, I always say this, if he, it's kind of odd that all of a sudden his short neck caused him not to be able to breathe when at a time when he was at a party at a friend's house. But then all of a sudden, his neck caused him to die. But his neck didn't cause him to die before he went to that party house.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, Let me go back here. It's so hard to do this, to listen to what's going on and to read the
No,
chat and put stuff up here.
no, you do that and you just tell me what I need to say.
No.
You ask me a
you
question
just
and I'll answer it.
you just tell the story. All right. So let me go back over here. Okay. It says I also observed smeared blood on the right side of his face, right hand, little finger, and above
Like you.
knuckles on right hand. I checked for vital signs and there were none. As I was checking vital signs for the body, it was cold to the touch and rigor mortis was present. So now, what were they saying the blood was from? Like when he started throwing up or whatever? Did he wipe his?
Okay, so what it is you can see, it's like, okay, so I know my son. He,
Okay.
he'd wipe his nose like this. And that's what it was. He had blood droplets on his hand. Let me see where I'm at. There we go. Blood droplets. So it looked like he had a bloody nose. And then you
Mm-hmm.
could tell that he wiped his nose like this, and there was blood smeared across, which tells you he was in some sort of medical distress before he fell. And so this is what I asked the detective. I said, okay, Detective Hargrove. I said, tell me how Tanner got blood on his finger like that. And this is what this man said. Well, Michele, when they turned him to check his pulse or whatever he said they did, he said his hand must have flipped across his face and there was blood on his nose and he must have got it. I said, well, wait a second. Wasn't he in rigor mortis? So how was his hand flopping around when it was stuck? It's not going to move. It's not going to come near his face because he was already in rigor. So you explained to me this. He
Yeah.
never emailed me. He doesn't email me back because I'm smarter than him. I mean, I'm not stupid. I mean, that's just dumb.
Right.
I mean, your
Yeah.
hand would have to be flopping like this. Well, it's not because it's in rigor mortis because he was like this. So when you turn him over, he's going to move in one piece. He's not going to be doing this. Sorry,
Right.
I'm animated. It just infuriates me how stupid they think we are as grieving families and parents when we're not dumb. I mean, we read between all the lines.
Right. And here's the thing. I don't know. Were his hands, did they say that his hands above his head when he fell,
Yeah,
or were they
one
down
was
here?
above his head, like it was like above, and I've got to think. That one is kind of hard to remember because I've not seen the pictures. I just remember somebody telling me, but I know that his hands. They told me his hands were not near his face at all. And they said, I'm just because they protect me. I've got some really good people who've seen the crime scene photos of Tanner, and they said, Michele, there's no way his hands, if they moved Tanner, there's no way his hand would have done this, and there's no way blood droplets. So my guess is he got up off the couch, and which I find, go ahead. Yeah, exactly.
So
You
I'm thinking about this. Like if he had his hands above his head, then when you roll over, your hands are still above your head. They're not going across your face. If they're below and they're not going across your face, they would literally have to be, it would literally have to be right here. And
Yeah,
then he couldn't have been in rigor mortis. It would have had to been
exactly.
before for it to
So
wipe
that's why
across.
I think, and there was blood droplets on the couch. It appeared to be blood droplets on the couch, and that's why we're like, did you check the couch? Oh no, no, no. That's how he always talked to me. No, 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 no. I'm like, okay, so my guess is he had a medical, he knew something was happening to him. He wouldn't have, and that's probably why he got up and went up and tried to get up the stairs. My guess, that would be one theory, but I really don't think he where he died was not where he collapsed. They made it appear as though Tanner fell down the stairs and broke his neck. That's what the rumor was. That's what they were telling kids at school, was that Tanner fell down the stairs and broke his neck. So, and when you listen to Todd Cooney, he has these addendums that he writes, and he sent them to us. And he said that Tanner collapsed in the family room when the family room's upstairs. And Todd Cooney says he didn't witness the death at 3 a.m. Well, how did you know Tanner died at 3 a.m.?
Yeah.
And how did you know he was on his stomach and he fell on his stomach at 3 a.m. and died? How would you know that unless you were called back to the scene, unless you were called there that night?
Exactly. And
How would you know that?
and if you're
Because that's
gonna
not the
die of a
story they
broken
told.
neck, like, doesn't your neck have to be broken to die of a
Yeah.
broken neck?
hmm And that's not the story that these people told. So why is he telling a whole different story than what his people are telling? Did he
Yeah.
forget? See, he didn't have the crime scene photo, he didn't have the case file. He didn't have what they had told detectives.
Mm-hmm.
So did he, over the years, forget that, oh, this is what really happened? And, he collapsed, blah, blah, blah. He died at 3 a.m. in the family room. No one witnessed the death.
Now, Cooney is the veterinarian, right?
Yeah, that was addicted to ketamine for 7 years, and he just got his DEA license August, right from August to April, from when Tanner. So that's August, September, October, November, December, and 7 months prior to Tanner's death.
I mean, how you going to be a veterinarian and you say somebody died of a broken neck when their neck isn't broken?
Yeah,
I mean, you're even a medical person. Like, that is bizarre. That's just,
that's what
it's
they were telling
crazy.
everybody.
Yeah. You need to at least think about the anatomy, but I get whatever. I'm not gonna even say what I'm thinking.
Question for
I'm gonna
yourself.
keep it classy, but I'm just telling you, I've got a lot of I've got, yeah,
A
a
lot
lot
of
of
opinions.
things
And
to
then,
say about this case.
yeah, and she said, question for Michelle, please. Was
Yes.
it the coroner who beat out Dr. Hadingus? Yes, it was Dr. Seeley. Well, no, that's not the coroner. That's the secondary coroner who said Tanner died of accidental due to Adderall. The first coroner was Jay Price, and then Jay Price retired, and then had Hadingus. Anyway, she's an OBGYN doctor. And then she lost to Dr. Seeley, who actually is a chiropractor. So, I mean, you're a doctor, but you're not a medic. You're not a pathologist. You do bones. You crack people's backs. You don't know internal. You don't know how the body works at that point.
I mean, yeah,
Anyways, yes,
yeah. I
he's
mean,
the Janice. I can't say her name.
um, yeah. There's so much sketch stuff here. It's crazy. Um, Okay, now so all right, so let's just look. So y'all kind of get these people in your heads now, because this helps me. Like I said, I have to see it. Okay, the detectives in this case were Captain Hargrove, and then Detective Shirey, Detective Waymeyer. You're
Mm-hmm.
welcome. Okay, Information obtained from Corporal Myers. The following subjects were present in the home. Okay, Marcus Salazar, Carol Linskog, Jeff Linskog, let me see, Kirsten Linskog. So there was 4 people in the house? I thought there was another one. Just 4 people, right?
Yeah, Kirsten, there was 5.
Okay.
Michaela, Marcus, Kirsten, Jeff, and Carol.
Okay, so like everybody, because I know you've said the name Linskog a lot, and people may not even know. Like that's a very odd last name. So
Yeah,
Carol, yeah, so Carol and Jeff are the parents in this home, and Kirsten is their daughter. And
no,
no,
Kirsten is Jeff's. Okay, so it's none of the kids are there together. They don't have any kids together.
okay,
So you have Jeff Linskog and Kirsten Linskog. That's Jeff and Kirsten. That's Daddy's daughter.
okay.
And then he married Carol, I can't remember her last name, Salazar, duh. And then, so that's where Carol brought Marcus and Michaela.
Okay, so
Marcus
when
and
Carol,
Michaela Salazar is Carol's kids.
okay, so when Jeff and Carol got together, she had a son, he had a daughter, and now who is Michaela then? Who does she belong to?
Michaela is Carol's daughter as well.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. And then now Carol and Todd are married.
Yeah, Carol is now divorced from Jeff and married to the veterinarian. So, yeah, the dating pool must be small in Kokomo. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's why he was out there. He was having an affair with her, and Jeff knew it.
Wow.
So he knew that they were having an affair. He knew it. So, and he can't say he didn't. My son told me 2 weeks prior, he was so upset. Tanner was so upset. Last time not 2 weeks. He came home for Easter, so about 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and he goes, "Mom." He always apologized if he was going to cuss. He goes, "Mom, I'm sorry, but I'm pissed." I'm like, "Oh my God, you're so cute." When he would never cuss around me, but he apologized. I'm pissed. Jeff and Carol and Todd are having an affair. And he goes, "That's just I'm so mad." He goes, Jeff is such a cool guy. And he goes, and Carol and Todd are just, ugh. He goes, "I feel so bad for him." And he goes, "They're having an affair right in front of him." I said, "Tanner, this is adult stuff. You don't have any business in it." I said, "I know you feel bad, but that's their evil mess. It's not yours. You just have to, I understand, but, just kind of stay out of it. It's not your business." Because I know, Mom, but it really upsets me. He was such a good kid.
I mean, I guess
He really was.
I don't know how long Jeff knew and whatever, but that's it's craziness. You would think, I don't know. I don't know. I don't live my life I don't live my life that way.
Me too. The detectives were the ones who told me as well, and I said, "Yeah, I already knew that. My son told me."
Oh my gosh.
They said that we've heard a lot of things about that house, and a lot.
Okay, people are talking about this in the chat. Marty's like, were they swingers?
The detective told me they were.
Okay.
He said that's what he heard, and he said numerous people called in to the sheriff's department, and that's what we were told. And I'm like, I don't know, I don't know what, but that's their business. And if that's what they want to do, that's up to them. They're grown adults.
Yeah, they are. I guess they can do what they want. But I mean, it does kind of, obviously, because of Todd Cooney, it plays into Tanner's situation. So,
you know what? I want to go back real quick. Remember, we were on the coroner report,
mm-hmm.
and we were talking about them saying Tanner broke his neck.
Mm-hmm.
But when you read, after photographing the basement area and body, I went over to the body and performed an external examination. I checked his neck, to see if he possibly had a neck fracture, and it appeared okay. So it obvious, and we were told that it appeared that he broke his neck the way his head was leaning. They said it was
Right.
such an odd position. So for Jeff Linscomb to not see, I mean, even the coroner checked his neck because it was in such an odd position. But yet, instead of this guy running and calling 911, he takes pictures with his work phone and sends by email to his wife's work phone. Call 911. You know this kid was dead on your floor. The pictures, everybody said, Michele, there's no way in heck he would have not known that this man, this child was dead on the floor. There's no way. There's no absolute way he didn't know.
Which, if that is true, and it wasn't just a joke because he thought he was asleep in a funny position, that is a level of sickness
Yeah,
unparalleled,
yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and should be a crime in itself. Um,
Yeah, yeah. But I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Oh
I
no.
just and it popped out at me, and I'm like, oh wait.
Okay. So they went ahead and they took X-rays. It says, well, they would do it when they're at the facility. They did not remove any clothing. Um, the detectives began processing the scene, and while they were busy with the job, I started looking around the basement. The basement area was a total mess. It looked like someone had a party in the basement. Which, when you read, when we get to the interviews, it doesn't sound like it, according to them, it doesn't sound like it was a big party, although there was alcohol there. That was not what I gathered from what they said. Observed an empty liquor bottle on the sofa, partially hid behind a cushion. On the end table, at east end of sofa, observed 3 glasses, a plate, white undershirt, wallet, plastic cup, keys package with clothing in it, and another wallet. Also near the end of the end table, there were a pair of black tennis shoes with a blue plaid jacket on top of the shoes. What kind of clothing was in a package? Like, what are they talking about there?
I don't know. That's what I didn't see any. I think there was like some white beater like tank tops that I remember seeing.
Hmm.
Um, but I will tell you, like I've said before, those were not my son's shoes in those photographs, and we can provide those as well. Because I did see those from the crime scene. He has shoes like that, but I have those. I have pictures where I've got his shoes. So the shoes that my son wore that night were a very light colored shoe. And then when I looked at those crime scene photos, I'm like, those aren't the shoes my son wore that night. And I contacted the detective and I said, those aren't my son's shoes. I said, where's my son's shoes? I said, because those black shoes are not Tanner's. And and he's like, I don't know. And so he started sending me pictures. This was during the Hail Mary investigation in
Mm-hmm.
2018. And he started sending me, I said, those are women's shoes. Why are you sending me pictures of women's shoes? I said, my son's shoe was a size 13. I said, those look to be like a size 7 of a woman's shoe. So he started sending me all these pictures, and I'm like, no, those are not my son's shoes. Where are my son's shoes? And then
Oh,
I have them. I went with our, anyways, where we have Tanner stuff located and stored and set aside. I went in, I found these are my son's shoes, and they're on Tanner's Voice. You go and you can see I'm holding in my hand my son's tennis shoes. They look exactly like those shoes. But how can he have those shoes there in the crime scene and I'm holding them? I never received any of Tanner's stuff back. They told me, they said, well, we'll burn all his stuff for you. Most people don't want their kids' stuff back. They want
yes,
it
they
burnt.
do. Yes,
Yep.
they do.
Mm-hmm. I got his wallet, and we have his keys because that was my husband's car that night. I got his wallet, um, 2 wallets, which is crazy, and that's a whole other story, and that will go in with the statements because that's huge with 2 wallets. I got his cell phone and 2 wallets. And they said, we'll burn all his clothes. You don't want those. And now I look back, they didn't want me to have them because it probably had all the evidence on his shirt where he vomited. It probably had everything that could have been tested. We could have had that stuff tested.
Right.
and seen what was in his system. It could have been tested. There could have been something on there. It could have been full of blood. We don't know. But he said, "Nah, you don't want that." I said, "Well, what do I do?" He goes, "Well, just leave it with us and we'll burn it." That's what he said. And being out of my mind, I didn't know, and so that all that's burnt.
That is so suspicious to me. I mean,
Very.
normally you keep it all, especially if it's under investigation or the coroner says, this is a suspicious death, this is a crime scene. It's all tagged and bagged and labeled, and it is evidence.
Yes, in the storage locker, in the evidence locker.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all should have been in the evidence locker marked Kenner Barton, case number, blah, 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 blah. But it wasn't. And it wasn't. And that's what angers me so badly is I fell for this. I fell for their corrupt ways. I fell for it. And they can't tell me it's not corrupt because there's no other explanation to this except protecting that family.
Exactly. I mean, that's a crime in itself, that evidence was not, properly handled. I mean, to me, and I understand, Michelle, and I'm, you know so much more now than you ever did. Back at that time, first of all, you're in shock and grief, and you don't even know. And then I think people tend to believe what authorities are saying in that state. Like, you're not questioning until the fog lifts out of your head, and then you're like, hey, wait a second, wait a minute. But then it's too late.
It's too late. They've already got you bamboozled. They already got you, and they do this. It's like they groom you. And I know that sounds awful, like not in a sexual, but they groom you like, oh, and then they get you so comfortable and trusting them, and they've got a way of talking to you. And don't think that you're a grieving mom, they're not going to pull the wool over your eyes.
Oh yeah.
Because I talk to Detective Shirey a lot, because I'm like, I trusted him. I trusted him 1,000%. Never did I think the police would do this to a grieving family. Never. I was so naive. And I trusted him. He built that trust. And because he built that trust, he was able to manipulate the things around me with Tanner's case.
When you say there's a special place in hell for people like that, yeah. I mean, to do that to a grieving mom it is beyond reprehensible. Oh my God. So Marty says, in my opinion, the police offered to throw it away so they could get rid of evidence. Of course they did.
Yes, they did. I 100% believe that now. 100% I believe that. Now I believe it.
Yeah. Okay, so Vid Inquiry said, did Jeff Linskog have any clout in Kokomo?
Okay, so this is where we connected Jeff Linskog. I went back home in 2015 for a march. It was my very first Justice for Tanner march. And I received a list of names, and somebody said, these are the names of officials who are connected to Jeff Linskog through his motorcycle club. And they said, that's all I'm giving you. And I got a list. And they said, now you go look these names up and you figure it out. Come to find out, one of them actually was a sheriff deputy at the same time that Jeff Linskog, and they both were in the same motorcycle club. And he was a deputy at the sheriff's department. Now he's in charge of communications, like 911, all that stuff with Howard County Sheriff's Department, which it blows my mind. I don't know how far back he went, but Tanner's 911 call appeared to be edited. And hopefully I can get that to you. I think that's one of the things I still have, but that was not taken from me. And but it's apparent that this 911 call was edited because it was a death, and it was we'll have to play that so people can hear it. It's so obvious it was edited. And so yes, and then there was fire chiefs, there was firefighters, Jeff's family, Jeff Carolyn Scoot's sister, her kids, her family, whatever, they're part of the fire department. Some of their family members. Todd Cooney's son is an EMS worker. And he was very good friends with Tanner as well, but families are going to do what they got to do to protect family members. So there's a lot of connections. These people were all very connected. And there's Todd Cooney, who was a veterinarian, who he was in charge of the 911, the canines for the police departments. Like he was a veterinarian to them. So a lot of them brought their dogs to that, to the clinic.
I mean, just as crooked as Delphi,
Oh.
Just,
well,
just
well I think there's a connection with all the police force, and there's a lot of connected corruption.
Yeah, and I mean, Kokomo figures into Delphi in so many different ways, or potential theories, whatever. Definitely some real connections between Kokomo and Delphi. So, you're it's like fighting an uphill battle with these people. They have no conscience, Michele. I don't know.
No, I don't think they do. So do you think Tanner collapsed upstairs and they moved him to? Yes. I think, because Detective Shirey asked me, he didn't ask me, he told me, he goes, yeah, it's kind of odd. There was we're looking into, there's some really strange markings on the wall going down into the basement. And we asked them about it. And so I said, why do you think they took him down there? What do you think? And he goes, we're just looking into some things. So, and I think they were all told to shut up, because there's no reason why Howard County would lawyer up. There's no reason why the county attorney has everybody in Kokomo shut down where they can't speak with us. No reason, unless somebody is covering for somebody and the police force is involved. This attorney's not going to give a rat's butt about this family unless officials are involved. Unless the police are the ones who lawyered up with the county attorney.
Okay, and I know it's speculation at this point, because so many people are not telling the truth. But if he did collapse upstairs, what in your head? What is your theory of what happened up there?
Okay, so my thought is, and I asked the detective to do get the phones and do tower pings. I said, because that's going to tell you who all was at that house and where they were. My thought is, once Tanner collapsed, that's why they contacted Dr. Todd Cooney. Now, this is my theory, in my own opinion. I think they contacted him, and the men carried him down, because Tanner was a big old boy, and it would have taken several people to get him down those stairs and make it appear as though he fell down the steps.
Yeah.
I think they were all having a good old time. I don't think anybody left that house. I know that they went and got donuts. Marcus was drunk as a skunk. I think they all came back. Everybody started partying. That's why there was a picture sent to Dr. I think Tommy sent the picture to his dad to show Tanner, this is how much Tanner had to drink. If he took ketamine, and I think he was called back to the house, and I think all the parents knew, and that's when they were formulating their story.
So that makes sense. They would have to move the dog gate, for one thing. If they're gonna say, well, he was drinking, he was, had some THC, and he fell down the stairs and broke his neck. Well, he's not gonna fall down the stairs probably with the dog gate there.
No.
So they'd have to move the dog gate, and then once they moved the body and positioned it or whatever, somebody not thinking, because they're probably all on something, ketamine, whatever, they put the dog gate back at the bottom where it made no sense for it to be. That makes sense to me.
But there was no dog gate at the bottom. All the pictures show the dog gate at the top.
Oh, but the report
But
says at the
Jeff said
bottom.
it was at the bottom, yeah. But all the pictures and everything, so yeah, so there's no dog gate at the bottom. There was no reason for Jeff Linscoob to go down to the bottom of the stairs and take a picture of Tanner, because it's not like he could look down and see, because there's a landing and it's enclosed like
Mm-hmm.
we discussed earlier. So Jeff Linscoob basically just, why would he have to go down there? He said, well, the dog was down there barking at the bottom of the gate. Well, the dog was at the top of the gate because that's where the gate is, at the top of the stairs.
Yeah.
And I was very, and I wish I would have recorded it, but I spoke with Marcus and I said, Marcus, I said, why was the dog gate? See, he didn't know. At this point, I had already had Tanner's case files, the first part of Tanner's case files. And I contacted him one day and I said, so let's talk about the dog gate. Why did your stepdad go down to the dog gate? And why was he down there? Why was he down at the bottom? And at this point, I already knew the dog gate was at the top. I was just trying to play, that Psych 101. And he goes, Michele, why are you listening to people? Why are you listening to all these lies? And I said, I'm not. I said, the dog gate is at the bottom of the stairs. And he goes, no, Michele, I wish you'd quit listening to lies. The dog gate is at the top of the stairs. It's always at the top of the stairs because Val is a short wiener dog and we don't want her going down the stairs and tripping and falling and hurting herself. I don't know who you're listening to, but you need to quit. And I'm like, oh yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
So Marcus himself was the one who said that it was always at the top of the gate, the top of the stairs, never at the bottom as well. So I wish I would have recorded that conversation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they
Yes,
had to drag Tanner down, they'd have to. You're not gonna lift him over a dog gate at his
exactly.
height and weight, no. So they'd have to
And
move it.
I like this question or the statement.
Yeah.
You don't fall down the stairs, hit the landing, then go rolling to the remaining stairs on the left. It wasn't a straight fall. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to fall down the stairs, you're going to hit that landing, hit the wall, and stay there. You're not going to, then, unless you are thrown down those stairs, climb down, hit, bounce, and then roll down the next set of stairs. If that was the case, then you would have had broken bones. It would have been shown in the x-ray.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I think he was totally down. I honestly God do, but go ahead.
No, I was just looking back at the report. I was trying to see, okay, this is what they said, on down, okay, it looked like Tanner may have walked up the stairs to the landing and fell backward, or possibly started to walk up the stairs and then fell backward. I did observe the position of the head, and he basically had no neck, and his chin was positioned down toward his chest. This could possibly have cut off the air supply, which could have caused his death. I informed the detectives I was going to call for a transport unit and send him out. Okay, but yeah, this still doesn't make sense.
Exactly. And if he started to go up those stairs and fell back, wouldn't he have dislocated a shoulder? Wouldn't he have hit his head and caused a contusion? Wouldn't he have had some sort of marking on his body if he did what they said he did? I don't believe it. I think he was moved, or he got up, then he fell to his knees and fell straight out, laid out something. He was in medical distress when he collapsed, and they knew it.
Yeah, because I mean, according to the witness statements, I mean, he was. I think one of the interviews I read, it's like, he was intoxicated and he tried to go up the bottom step, like from the basement, and he kind of just fell down, and people are thinking he's
Yeah.
just intoxicated. But here's the thing: at his height and size, if first of all, if he fell from a height like okay, if you're gonna fall down the steps, because that's what this is saying, right? It looked like he started to walk up the steps and fell back. If you're gonna fall down like that, you're gonna fall with a womp. Okay,
Yes.
and it's not like, you weigh 90 pounds and you kind of just slid down the rail and gently on the floor. When you hit like that, it's the automatic thing for somebody to check on you. You know, and
Yes.
you're not going to, okay, you have to go up further. If they think it's a broken neck, you have to be further up those stairs, not on the first step, not right at the floor. You're not going to break your neck right there. It's not far
Mm-hmm.
enough. You're going to have to come down the stairs from the landing. And if you do, you're going to go womp womp. And then people are going to absolutely know, hey, this could be serious. Not like, oh, let me just check his pulse. Yeah, he just passed out. It doesn't make sense.
No. And another thing, and when we start reading the statements, you're going to hear what Michaela says. And she says, she runs up to tell her dad that Tanner had collapsed. And she goes, I don't know, Dad. Or her stepdad, her stepfather. She
Mm-hmm.
calls him stepfather in this. And she said, I think Tanner fell up the stairs and broke his neck or broke his nose. I think he fell up the steps and broke. How the heck do you fall up the stairs and break your nose? But that's in her statement, and you'll see that. And that's where the blood came in. Somehow, something happened to his nose, and they knew it. So he didn't fall. How could you fall up the stairs? And then she tells detectives that he turned, made a funny noise, and went backwards. So why are you running and telling your dad that, telling your stepdad, because he told the police in his statement that she came running up saying, I don't know, something's wrong with Tanner. I think he fell up the stairs and broke his neck and broke his nose. But yet her statement, she says that he turned and fell backwards.
Okay, so if
Two different statements.
so if he had damage to his nose, I mean, and this is just theory, this is hypothetical, I don't know, but he had a problem with Jeff and Carol's relationship and Todd and the whole thing. Do you think in that situation would he have said anything that maybe made Jeff mad and made just
I've thought about that. I've thought, even they asked us, if Tanner was mad at somebody. Was there a fight? Were these kids getting along? And I'm like, at that point, I know it didn't even click on me to tell them that, yeah, Tanner told me about how upset he was about this, this family, and what they were going through. But he says, and he even asked, was everybody okay? Everybody getting along? That makes you wonder, why would they ask that? Why would they ask that if his nose? And my thought was, did Marcus, did they give him something? And then he start talking smack, and
Yeah.
you know how football players talk smack to each other.
sure.
Where he's talking smack, like, hey, because, Marcus wasn't, his grades were horrible. And I kept telling him, Marcus, you've got to get your grades up. If you want to get a scholarship, if you want to play football, you've got to get those grades up. He was like D's, F's, and I said, you're not going to play football anywhere. Did Tanner throw him some smack and say, because I know he was waiting on a letter to be accepted to play football at some college. We were told he flunked out, but he says otherwise, and I can't confirm that or whatever. But I know he was waiting on that letter, and was Tanner throwing him some smack? I want to know why my son's nose was bleeding. I know you bleed when you overdose. I know that's part of all that. Did he fall? Was it part of the overdose? Was it somebody hit him in the mouth? Was he fighting? And we never saw. Okay, I didn't tell everybody this. We never identified Tanner. We were never shown Tanner. Yeah. They said, we know who it is. We're just going to save you the heartache of seeing him. So we never identified his body until we didn't see Tanner until our family viewing the day before the viewing. So the family gets to go see your child the day before, so you're not as shocked. And we didn't see Tanner. We didn't identify his body. The first responders knew him from school.
Wow.
And we didn't know. I mean, hell, it's our first death like that. I mean, we didn't know. We didn't know what to do. We were just as in shock. And yeah, so, and now another reason I'm so mad at myself and how I was so taken advantage of, because there could have been bruising. I mean, they're going to hide it with makeup.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure
you
they
can
are.
reconstruct, yeah, you can reconstruct a whole face.
Hmm.
If somebody's face was, blown up, you can do so much with this makeup. So was there bruising? Was there his nose? Was there anything? Even if his nose was broke, they can plug it up and make it appear as though it's not. So
Yeah.
looking back, I'm so mad at myself for not having the strength to do that. But they told me, don't do it. We've got somebody. You don't have to. We already know who it is. We
Well,
know it's
yeah.
Tim.
Again, in that shock and grief, you're just thinking they're being helpful.
Yes.
You're not thinking they're hiding something. You don't know what's going to happen. And I mean, but wow, that's mind blowing because you're right. You didn't. I mean, I
Mhm.
understand not everybody gets to see the crime scene, but yes, the identification of the body before it's anything happens to it. Yeah, you want to know because
Yeah.
now
So
nobody does know. Oh
no.
my gosh!
Yeah. So
Wow.
that was hidden as well. So we don't have his clothes. We were never identifying him. So those, and now there's so much that you look back and you're like, you all are dirty.
Yeah.
You are dirty. You've done this family dirty. Y'all need your ass butt sued.
Yes. Yes. It's
Why do you think they've
unbelievable.
lawyered up? Why do you think they've lawyered up? Howard County Sheriff Department has lawyered up with the county attorney. We are not permitted to speak with him. Why? All we've done is ask questions. We've not done anything. I mean, if you had nothing to hide, you wouldn't lawyer up. You would speak to us freely. Because when we asked them to sit down with us with their new cause of death, when they said it went from natural to accidental, they
Yeah.
said, oh, we're not going to entertain that. We don't need to do that. It's just the new sheriff said, it's not going to help anything. Your son's still dead. It's not going to help anything. So no, we're not going to meet with you. They wouldn't even meet with us and tell us and discuss with us their new findings in Tanner's death.
Yeah, it's not going to bring Tanner back, but it's not
It's going
helpful to
to,
you, but it's going to be detrimental to them to see how bad they screwed up.
yes, and they know my sister would come in there, guns blaring, and they know we would because they've seen what we have done all these years, and they know that we know what they've done. And they know that in 2018, they knew everything that they had done wrong in Tanner's case.
Um Okay, I'm looking here at Samantha. First of all, Samantha said, would people running their substances through the house have felt like he was going to say something to get them shut down? Could he have gotten a hot shot in his drink? And
I
then
think he got a hot shot.
you think what?
I think somebody put something in his drink.
Oh yeah, I do too. But the question is, was it just I guess was the motivation to just have a good party time with Special K, or was it a hot
To
shot? Which, yeah, and because
So a
she's
hot
saying
shot means a death, like a death shot. Is that what a hot shot is?
yes, yes, that is it. Happens a lot in the drug world. If somebody has owes you money, somebody you want to take somebody out for discipline or just because whatever, you mess with the wrong people, you get a hot shot, and that's where it is intent to unalive you. Okay.
And yeah, it's a lethal dose.
Yes, and they know that when they do it. So that's what she was asking. But she said that the hot shot in the drink would explain the missing toxicology. I don't understand how. Wouldn't it show up? Somebody'd have to explain that to
Well,
me.
if it's a hot shot and they knew that they were killing him on purpose, then they obviously hid the they most definitely made sure the toxicology was hidden.
Yeah, it would have to be. Um,
It's hidden
which
and it's hidden. Those weren't his lab. Those weren't his samples sent to any lab. That's why they took blood that night, the day of, because everybody's like, nobody ever does. The toxicologist was like, nobody does this. This is not this isn't normal protocol. Everything is done in autopsy and everything is taken to and sent to our lab. He goes, this is just not right. I've not heard of this. where they took blood the day that Tanner died and then ran it through their own lab. My thought is they ran it through their own lab. That way they can manipulate what was really in his system. Was his alcohol level even greater than that? Was it lower? Did they got that sample? Now they're going to switch the lab and take that blood out, put somebody else's in there, make it a lower. We don't know. There's so many scenarios that could have happened.
Yeah, but the whole thing together, and I didn't know when we talked last time that you didn't identify his body. And, of course, I didn't realize that they had burned all of the evidence. Okay, so you didn't identify him. They burned the evidence, and then they didn't run a correct toxicology. Oh, my God. It's like from the very beginning.
And then they got rid of the samples a year to the day without giving us any notice, and we told them we kept on them and on them and on them and on them about retesting things. Why did you destroy samples and did not tell us for 5-6 years?
I mean, this reeks from the very day of, okay? The very day of, it reeks of cover-up.
Yes. Possible then moving Tanner downstairs, yes. Do you think with a possible fight, poisoning, them moving, it could be? And then especially when Tommy told my husband, just let it go, Jeff. Just let it go. You don't want to know. Why wouldn't you want to know?
Exactly.
And Tommy, we've discussed this last week. Tommy Cooney which everybody, if you didn't listen to last week, Tommy Cooney is Tanner's very best friend, and it's the veterinarian's son. And he's the one who we believe was possibly there that night. That's my thoughts. He's no longer with us. He passed away 2 years ago in an automobile accident, supposedly, but we can't find anything on it. And we believe that he may have overdosed or killed himself because he knew what was going on. That's all in my opinion.
Wow. And then there was, okay,
Yeah.
This was a hunch due to Tanner's size that, could they have slipped him something in to make him weaker? So was it not to, basically unalive him, just, I don't know, so they could
subdue him some.
Yeah.
To bring him down to, and they could have. And there's so many scenarios that run through my head, and I'm trying not to be as naive to think that they wouldn't have harmed him, because the more I look back into this and the more I really go back into everything, there's a possibility that they did do it on purpose. I mean, there really is a possibility. There's so many reasons that could be there. So,
yeah,
and
it's, I guess when we first started talking, I'm thinking this is an accidental death that they covered up. But yeah, the more that you uncover, the more you have to question, what did he know? What did he do? What were they trying to hide? All that kind of stuff. And then Marty says the hotshot would explain why they waited to call 911. It is, I mean, yeah, they're saying that they called at 9:13, whatever, in the next morning because they didn't know.
Yeah.
But we don't know. They could have known that, for hours before while they were doing stuff, moving the body.
And getting their story straight. And another thing, why do we not have his time of death, his actual time of death? Why were we not given that? They said they called his death at 9:37 a.m. Okay, but with a real investigation, with a real toxicology, with a real coroner's investigation, you would be able to tell, and you would have been able to tell by the contents in his stomach. They said he ate this at this time, and you would have been able to tell at what time, his body stopped doing this. I mean, there's so many things they could do. We were never given his actual time of death. And we asked for that. And they said, oh, well, we didn't, he's gone and we didn't do that. And why? Why are you not giving us all these answers that a grieving family is asking? We're not asking, for anything but the truth. We're asking for you to answer these questions that you have not given us. You've not fulfilled any of this. There's nothing. You've just left us with blank answers. I mean, it's like blank. We don't even know. And then you want to close it with stuff that you haven't even given it from. Oh, sorry, y'all.
No, I mean you're right. You look at this report, even though it's somewhat detailed, it's not that
No,
detailed. It's not.
no. It looks like a bunch of words, y'all. It looks where you at right there. It looks like a bunch of words, but it's all like a bunch of nothing. Wallet, I walked back over to where the body was lying, looking at the position of the body. It looked like Tinderman, and then it says respond. There was nothing. You didn't give us anything. A few things. The good part, we were unable to obtain urine. Okay, well, then how did you get a urine test? Did anybody tell us?
Yeah, and like I was saying before, that is ridiculous. There's always residual urine, period. Period. There's
Mhm.
something in that bladder. Always. Might not be a lot,
Mhm.
but there's something in there. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, because we've we've gone a long time through this, but this has been good because like people have questions and it's great. Okay, yeah. So did I miss anything in there? It says, uh, so there is no like, okay, there's nothing in here that says anything, not even a a maybe time of death, a.
No. Mm-mm.
So it says that he has some partially digested food. Partially digested, okay? So it wasn't that long ago. You would think they would be able to do a time of death or
Yeah.
approximate time of death from that. And I have to look at the interviews. So I know they went out for donuts, didn't get donuts. So what did he eat? What was the last thing Tanner ate and when?
Yeah. They said he had a grilled cheese sandwich and some ceviche or whatever Marcus made. Okay, so where is and it's so funny that nobody could get their story straight, but the grilled cheese was very important. Everybody mentioned. And when we do the statements, y'all, you're gonna see how conflicting even their statements are. I mean, nobody knew where anybody was in that house, and everybody had a different story as to where they were when Tanner walked in. And it's like, and then the mom didn't even know. Oh, and I think Marcus may have been in there. How the heck do you not know that your kid's in there? It was just yesterday. How do you know your kid was there? But your kid said he was downstairs. Sister said he was upstairs. You said you didn't know where anybody was. I mean, and they believed him. They believed, oh, well, they didn't believe him. They were basically, let's push it under the rug and protect this family.
Yeah. Um, I want to go back to the end of this, and this was on May 30th, 2012. On this page, it's talking about at this time, I've not received any paperwork from the sheriff department. On May 30th, there's still no paperwork. I don't know. What about that? But the investigator was informed about things that possibly may have happened at the residence. However, I have no evidence to substantiate those rumors. After reviewing toxicology report, autopsy report, and photographs, I will be signing the death certificate today. Cause of death will be ruled, asphyxia, natural. This is all very complicated case with many unanswered questions. At this time, I will not be closing out this case. This
Yes.
case will remain under investigation.
Mhm. So why a year later, with no new evidence, you said it was they told us it was a highly suspicious death. That's why you see when you see this highly suspicious death. That is what we were told. We were told that my son's, yeah, can y'all see that? This is his billboard that I carry everywhere. Highly suspicious death. I was left to die by the friends I trusted. And this is the billboard you see me with all my stuff. We were told the Tanner's death was highly suspicious from day one. Day one,
Wow.
we were told. And so you're gonna sit there this is a very complicated case with many unanswered questions. Okay, if there's unanswered questions, why a year later did you get rid of stuff with no new evidence coming in? Why did you get rid of his clothes? Why did you get rid of all this stuff? And then you have unanswered questions, but yet you're going to continue, and then I will not be closing out this case. All right. It's under investigation. They never did investigate. We had people come in with evidence and they never investigated.
Like I said before, I thought the first time that we talked, I had a basic understanding, but so much of this, I'm just growing more angry by the minute from the things that I find out from you. Again, the body, that whole situation, the clothes, the destruction of evidence. Yeah, I don't understand why people can get away with this and not be held accountable. I don't.
I don't get it. It's time
who are the keepers of these people?
Oh, it's the police. Yeah, well, the police are going to keep. We even had filed a complaint against the Howard County Sheriff's Department. And of course, they police themselves. And so but the detective he got demoted down to court security. So that we know of. And we even said, he goes, no, we asked for him to be fired. And they're like, no, we're just going to keep him where he's at. He's at court security or whatever, and that's where he's going to stay. And then he retires. That way it keeps him. They're going to let these people keep their pension, and you're going to get in trouble. But we're going to still let you make a little money and keep your pension, and we're going to move you on out.
Right.
But he got demoted down to transporting the prisoners and stuff. So that's all they did to him.
Yeah.
Then he gets to retire with a pension.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Sorry,
something on them. There's so many cases getting opened like across the state, and not with ISP. I mean, they're not opening anything with the new C law, but there's a lot of cases getting closed in Kokomo, like solved. Like all of a sudden, miraculously, all these cases are getting solved. So I'm going to tell you, Tanner's is going to be one of them.
And that's what we're fighting for. And I had talked to Michele, about drafting or if somebody knows how to do this better than I do, like a petition to get this case reopened. Signing. If you get enough people, enough signatures, enough stuff, to put enough pressure on ISP, they will have to take a look at this again. Now, whether we'll get the results we want, but still reopen the case. Clearly, there's a lot of stuff that was
purposely overlooked.
Yes. Marty said, did we answer this? Did you say people had evidence that wasn't investigated?
I don't know if that. I'll have to have her elaborate on that because I'm not for sure what she means.
Oh wow. Yeah, and Professor Pug, hi there, by the way. Said if I lived in Carroll County, I'd move. Same.
Same with Howard County.
Yeah. Samantha says there's one cop who has a brother recently convicted of 2 murder. Unaliving. Y'all can read that. Another cop caught intoxicated from stolen fentanyl patches on the job, stolen from an elderly lady. Oh my God.
Yeah, is that like Carroll, Howard? I mean, what county's in Indiana, or is that Indiana?
Oh my gosh. Ruckus says, and I know what you're saying, Ruckus. You're biased and pro LA. I know. I work with LA too, but in this case,
right?
Exactly.
Right, Ruckus?
Yes.
Ruckus, I would tell you, Ruckus has heard me go crazy some days, and And thank you. He's calmed me down a few times. And yeah, he's seen this, and it blew his mind about what they did to Tanner's case. Blew his mind.
Wow. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. And like I said, some of it, I don't know, maybe you said it and I just, my brain didn't catch up till today with some stuff. And I'm like, holy crap. Okay. Isn't there like a move towards an attorney general that can be made? I don't know. I don't know. What is that something the attorney general could, I don't know. What are the laws in Indiana?
I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't know. There's things that we just have to we have to take steps. And I know that people just don't jump in until you've done this step, this step, this step, and this. And then once you get to these steps, they're gonna say, "Did you contact this person? Did you do that?" So it's like you've got to make your way up. And we've gotten up to ISP, so I think it's time for us to move a little further.
Yeah. And I think, petitioning, making noise, and all of y'all creators out there, look, I think that's why Delphi is still, has gotten so much attention. It's just everybody keeps, you can't ignore it. All these people talking about it. That's what we need.
Another thing I even thought of was getting a bunch of these families who's turned their cases over to ISP, who just denied all of our cases, who it's obvious that a lot of them are murder. I mean, it's so obvious. And doing a march outside the state capitals, do a march outside ISP's headquarters in Indianapolis. Get media there. There's a law now, a C 177, SEA 177 law, where ISP, and last week we discussed this as well. But there's a law now that says that we can go in and submit our cases to the Indiana State Police, and they would do a new review. Well, what they're not telling people is they're still working with the corrupt agencies that closed the case in the first place. And so they reached out to to Howard County. Oh, they did okay on their investigation, and then they have a pathologist, Dr. I knew his name. I forgot it last week, and I was going to remember it today. But I'll remember it here in a minute. And they send all their cases, their toxicology, their coroner reports, all that, to this doctor, and he doesn't have. He just signs off on these cases. Okay, well, he said that he believes the coroner from the county. We're just going to leave it like that. So it's frustrating what ISP is doing. It's so frustrating, and it's just not me. There are cases across Indiana, and we even have a site, a Facebook page questioning the C law. So, and I'll be able to put that out there. Well, I'll give you that. Maybe we can post that on there for families whose case was going to go to ISP, but they denied them and didn't reinvestigate. So sorry, I'm rambling. I'm sure.
No, that's fine. And it's like I was reading some of the comments. I'm there. Yeah, let's figure out what to do. I mean, I think signing a petition, letting people know we have a voice. If we need to do a march, whatever we need to do. I mean, I guess we can't. I guess we can't go throw rocks at the building. That would be illegal. But that's what I feel like. That's what I feel like in this case.
Trust me.
Jeez. Yeah, so Velvet Underground. Yeah, people don't realize that that drugs are used recreationally. And yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. It does. It renders you unconscious. So, yeah, that's the question. Was it ketamine? Well, we don't know. It sounds like ketamine that would render you unconscious, given, the fact that
you've got to see the characters. So once you see everybody and their involvement with the veterinarian world, which we discussed last week, and then you see the doctor and his past and what he has done, where he was The same thing happened to him. He overdosed on ketamine at his own home. He had needles and vials of ketamine in his own home. So it's not like that's not possible for it to be at somebody else's home.
Right.
Here's this man in a home, admittedly in a home where my son passes away, suspiciously in the same way you would as if you were overdosing on ketamine. Positional asphyxia. We
Yeah.
were told he had a drug overdose. It was not in his system. Blah blah blah. Okay, make this make sense to me. Make it sound like, okay, so I can't be making this stuff up because we got all these factors laying back here, and then you have a deceased kid, healthy
Right.
deceased kid. When you got all this whole stuff going around here, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, this healthy 19-year-old college athlete just dies and can't reposition himself to breathe. And we were told that there were signs of asphyxia, where he couldn't breathe. He had, what is that in your eyes? Where your eyes, it's Michele. What is it called? Where you overdose and or you suffocate and your eyes are red and
Uh, I'm thinking of petite, but that's
yeah,
not it. Is that it? I
yes,
know
it's
that's
in
on the
it's
skin.
in,
Is it in his eyes too?
yes, and it's where it's where he suffocated. And the coroner told me this is what the coroner's exact words were. He said he slowly suffocated, Michelle. He goes, there were signs that he slowly, so which tells me he laid there, and I have panic attacks thinking about this because he said he laid there and couldn't reposition himself to breathe, but he slowly suffocated. So was
Yeah.
my son like this? Was he knew his surroundings, but he couldn't move, and because he was cut like this, it caused him not to breathe? I mean, is that, these things go through my mind, and they can't not. I try to stop them, but those are just thoughts that, is that what happened? I mean, because we're not given anything. Nobody's given us any information. We just have to speculate and think, and shame on them. They're disgusting, vile individuals who would not, who let us continue to live like this.
Right. And that, I mean, that's the thing. It's one thing if it was accidental. And I mean, I know people want to, CYA, they don't, nobody wants to be charged, even if it's an accidental unaliving. But at the same time, now you go through all this, the whole evidence thing. It's mind boggling. It's mind
Mhm.
boggling how, doesn't somebody, who polices the police?
They
Because
police
otherwise,
themselves.
yeah, I mean, otherwise they can just run rampant and do what they want. Somebody, don't they have to answer for this to somebody? I mean, I don't know.
No, they don't, because they police themselves. Because we thought there was a separate agency that goes in and does an internal investigation. No, the sheriff does it, or at least the sheriff did it in our case.
Okay,
But
petechial
see,
hemorrhages, yeah, during
yeah,
choking.
mhm.
Okay, and so that's, yeah. I mean, I guess what they're saying is maybe,
He was choking because he had vomit in his throat, in his
yeah,
lungs, um, in his mouth.
and also
And he was
potential
choking.
hemorrhage. Of
And
course,
if you're like this, you're gonna choke,
yeah.
even though you're not choking. You're still choking because there's something. So obviously something was in his. They said his airway was clear, but that's not what the coroner told me. The coroner told me that there was emesis in his throat, lungs, mouth, coming out of his mouth.
I don't yeah, I don't, again, I'm gonna say it, I don't know how these people live with themselves.
Really, no.
And um
Mm-mm.
I know what I hate to, like, we've been going for 2 hours. It doesn't seem like
Oh,
we've been talking about this
no.
for 2 hours. I mean, it's been so very interesting, and so many of the things that you brought up. And I know that we probably need to cap it here so we can go on to the next one. Yes, I want to talk about the players and let everybody see who
Mhm.
are they, who are they, and how do they relate to Tanner and the house that night. Geez, I just want to make sure that there's not any questions since this is a Q&A. Okay, Mother Dragon says, I was asking who polices the police. The sheriff's office, no one polices them unless they're under investigation by the FBI. Well, I'm just telling you, somebody needs to look at that.
Mhm.
FBI, somebody
Ruckus,
needs to.
come on,
Yeah,
Ruckus.
somebody needs to challenge that because what was done to her, from not, I mean, honestly, you didn't see his body, you didn't identify him, you didn't get the evidence back, you didn't get his clothes, you didn't, I mean, like, they could have literally done anything they wanted,
Yep.
and
Yep.
apparently they did.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. They kept me. They groomed me. Like I said, I was groomed, and and just, oh, it's okay, Michelle, and just I'm your best friend, and now I know why. Looking back,
Yeah, of
anytime
course.
you need, and oh, and this is how he talked, and Michelle, and our officers are the best, um, and we sent it to our lab, which is the best. I don't question our lab. I mean, he was so like, not, oh, Michelle, blah, blah, and turned me off like that to put me on a defensive. He was like, and so I believed, like, yeah, since you're so nice to me, I believe you because what that's how we are. We
Yeah.
have nothing that we trust these people. We trust them. Because I've never done this before. I mean, I'm not that. No, I don't know how this works. Now I'm vocal. Now I help other families.
uh let's see. Yeah. Samantha said there would be a bone in the throat that would be broken if somebody did the choking. Yeah, but that wasn't on the autopsy. Yeah, there's literal no reason on the
There's no reason
autopsy.
my son died. None.
Yeah,
Zero.
yeah.
None.
So, I mean, I guess uh what we're looking at is, getting more public awareness, possibly getting a petition. If any of y'all know, I mean, I'm not I'm not an idiot, despite what I sometimes come across. I mean, I could probably write a petition, but if somebody has experience with that, let's start while we're looking at this case. And it might be beneficial if we were to go do a peaceful demonstration. I'm not going to say protest. I hate that word. Um, but let's say we're going to do that. It might be beneficial to even get some other families in Kokomo or around Kokomo that have the same thing and go as a bigger group. Like, these are three, these are this many cases. What you going to do? We're sick and tired of your BS. We're
What's
ready. Yeah.
No, but what's so sad is there's cases, the main cases that have been cold in Indiana or in Kokomo are all now being solved. The ones that
Uh,
I've been praying for these with these people, all of a sudden they're like older than Tanner's. But all of a sudden, 15 years later, oh, we finally got a suspect. Oh, we finally got a suspect in this. Oh, we got two in this one. Oh, we got this in this one. That's because people are starting to see.
yeah.
People are starting to see. And so, and I've made noise for all those cases. And now I'm like, okay, now it's Tanner's turn.
Yes, it
Now it's Tanner's
is.
turn.
Yeah, it
If
is.
you can deny that this is, nobody in their right mind can sit there and say, oh, it was just this, and now we're gonna walk away. You can't. There's no way. That's why I can't walk away.
Uh, I'm gonna say this is probably no. One more question, and then I'm gonna give Michelle a rest, and then we're gonna make another time.
I can go get
Bless
some
her
more
heart.
sun.
Um, uh, but I know you're so passionate about this case, but I don't want to wear you out. Um, let's see. Are there any other people that have been unalived at that uh
at that
house.
case. No, not that I know of. I do know that Marcus, just in, okay, so Tanner died, in April, so that was at August before. Tanner, Marcus had gone over to a friend's house, and, a girl, and they were drinking heavily, and, the girl collapsed and went like unconscious, like was vomiting. And instead of Marcus calling 911 or the whatever, the girl's parents, he called his mom, Carol. And
Wow.
Carol, and I know this for a fact because Carol, and somebody I know, not Carol, yeah, Carol and a friend of mine was at a bonfire together, and she got the call. And so the family goes back to the home, and instead of anybody taking this girl to the hospital, the mom of this girl is actually a nurse. So she goes and doctors her daughter up. But Marcus was with a girl right before going into his senior year, had her all, and she was drunk. I mean, like drunk, unconscious drunk, where she's throwing up unconscious. So, and that was not at that house, but that was at that girl's house. And so, do you see where? And Marcus says, "Oh, I don't drink. I don't drink."
Yeah.
And then they don't allow him to drink. But yet, this is factual because this mom came after me because I mentioned the girl's name, and she came after me, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to take the girl's name out of it." She goes, "Okay, thanks." So it was true. And the people, the players, the girl the woman who was at the party with these people, not at that party, Marcus and this other young, underage girl, all underage. Yeah, it was true. So not at that house, but Marcus has done this kind of thing before. And guess who they called first? Carol. Guess who they called first with Tanner? Carol. Do you see where Carol gets called in these situations?
Yeah. That's very sus.
And this girl didn't die. So everything was okay. But with Tanner, Tanner died. So now what's Carol going to do? Oh, now we got to come up with a grandiose plan. Oh, shoot. What do we do? So then she starts yeah. So it's been before. This has happened before, with another person.
Wow. Wow.
They just didn't die around Marcus, but Tanner died around Marcus. So how much did my son actually have to drink?
According to the screen, not much at all.
But is that why they took the blood and send it to that lab where they can control it and keep, instead of sending it to AIT?
Yeah.
And then that way they can switch the samples up in the lab, switch somebody else's blood up and send that to the lab at Access AIT. So how much did my son really have to drink? We don't know.
Right.
I mean, he could have had alcohol poisoning. He could have died from alcohol. We don't know. But Marcus has been in this position before. I've had people say that he has smoked spice. There's been people who've come to me and said that they were very well aware of it. That he is a spice smoker. So these are people who came and told the detectives this. So it's just not me. They've gone to the sheriff's department.
Wow.
Been a private investigator involved? No. 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 I would love one, but I'm not going to pay $100,000 for them to come and say the same things I've done.
Yeah. Yeah.
All I want is phone things. I want their phones done. I'm wanting their phones checked. That's and he said he wasn't going to entertain that idea.
That makes no sense in an investigation. Why would you not? That is the first thing people do.
Why wouldn't you want to see where everybody was when everybody was lying and nobody knew where anybody was? Why wouldn't you want to see if these kids at the donut shop were lying? All right, if they were lying, then grab their phones and let's do a tower pain. Oh, Michelle, I'm just not going to entertain that idea. That's what he told me. That's how he said it. I'm just not going to entertain that idea.
No, because that'll show the guilty parties. So why would you entertain that? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, you know, how else did they catch the Long Island serial killer than by the phone records?
Yes. Oh, during the Hail Mary, when he brought everybody back in for the investigation to re-question them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and while you're at it, he said, I told them all to bring a copy of their phone records. Told them to bring. I said,
Yeah,
I
I said
told you
that.
that my phone records were manipulated. Somebody did something to my phone records. The phone calls are all off by an hour just now. I said, I told you this. I said, they can go and use anybody to have their phone records manipulated.
Yeah.
But oh no, I told him to go ahead and bring the phone records with you. Isn't that part of your being an investigative cop to have it go ahead and do
Yeah.
it before they get there so you can say, okay, because Jeff Linsky was an IE, which is an internet expert. So basically, what he
Oh
does, that's his
wow.
thing. Yeah, he was an IE, which is yeah,
Wow. So they could manipulate this whole case even if they had the phone records.
yeah,
This is sickening. It's just
it
sickening.
is. Mm-hmm.
Ah, oh my gosh. All right. I am going to, if there's like, if you have more questions, put them down in the comments. You know, if especially like I said earlier, if you're on the replay, put your comments down there. Your questions, Michelle will answer them, and we'll talk
Yes,
about this. And we're gonna try to figure out the next time we can go through, get together to go through this. You know, Hall of Shame, the
yeah.
players in this scenario, and who did what, and let's look at the backgrounds because you know. Yeah, I have a feeling I'm just going to get more angry the further we go in this.
When you see and you really start reading the testament, their oh, anyways, they're when they investigated them, you're just gonna and they come and they give their statements. I almost threw my phone. I was so mad, and he's like, I told you, Michelle. Look, they're lying, aren't they? And I said, oh my God, yes. And I said, he goes, and yeah. So that's all for next because there's so much more I could say, and I know we want to get off here, but there's so much more to my conversation with this detective, and I hope to God that that's part of some of the phone recordings that we have.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and she's trying to get some of the stuff that has been lost or not lost. It's whatever. It's whatever.
It's a hostage situation.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. It's
Yeah,
being held hostage. But yeah,
it's being held hostage right now.
yeah. All right. So thank you so much, Michelle. And I know some of y'all have been here from the beginning. Like, thank you for hanging out. It hasn't seemed like it's been that long to me. This is a fascinating case, but I know everybody's got stuff to do, and I know Michelle is, you know, probably getting tired by now. We're gonna come back later, Michelle. Anything that you want to say right before we say goodbye?
Oh no, just thank you everybody. Just please let's start getting Tanner's case back out there because there's so
Yes.
much, and I've been shut down by so many people because I tell the truth. And I just want Tanner's case out there. If anybody has a channel or a podcast, let me come to your channel. Let me come to your podcast. Let's you know, let's
Yes.
all get together and just keep this. Let's just keep it rolling. Keep it rolling to where Tanner's name becomes, it's in everybody's living room.
And let me
You know,
say
when they talk
this.
about it, there's Tanner.
Yes, yes. And I sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt my brain. I know Michelle feels the same. We've talked about this, but for this particular case, if any of y'all creators or whatever want to take screenshots or screen recordings of this, you know, of Silky Southern Tea and her talking about this, any part of this, you want to cut it up, you want to make a short, you want to make a TikTok, you have my permission to cut this
Right
up and
too.
just share it as many different ways as we can. You know, I don't care. I am not in, you know, obviously y'all can see I'm not in this for the money. But yeah, let's get this out here. I am in it for the justice for sure. So
And I appreciate that.
but anyway, all right, I'm gonna say goodbye for right now. And y'all, thank you so much for hanging out. Again, share, like, give her a thumbs up. Let's make this, hit the algorithm. And Michelle, I'll talk to you backstage when we're done. But I'm gonna let everybody else go and enjoy their Sunday. Y'all, whatever you do, remember to stay silky, and try not to be a horse's rear end. I mean, just let me just say that, okay?
And then put it nicely. Woo! All right, I'm gonna call you.